Hey team, welcome back to the channel, man. So today we're going to talk about ADP 2-0. Let's get to this. So ADP 2-0, of course, is intelligence.
I know.
And we're going to break down what's in the ADP, as well as some standard type of questions that you might be asked should you be attending a board. And I'm going to tell you right off the bat that the ADP, I have it pulled up right here, it's only 88 pages, so most ADPs are short like that.
I like these are field tradocs.
And
what do you mean?
Easy enough to
well,
read,
whether it be the book or
a little bit,
however
sure
you got your
PowerPoint,
Word,
so that you can
Excel.
craft.
Usually that lineup should go to some kind of calc somewhere.
NCO, as a soldier, as a leader, right? So ADP 2-0 is intelligence. Easiest way to remember that, of course, is that the 2. Just think about S2. It's Intel. You know, and it's not that, again, it's not that big of a manual. So, and most ADPs are not, because they're broad in spectrum, if you will. Looking at the table of contents, you only have 5 chapters in this thing, right? So you have chapter 1, which is operations and intelligence. Chapter 2, which is intel support. Chapter 3, which is
I was going to say, go grab something.
4,
you don't need to. They pretty much give you tradocs right here. But this is the special relativity version first,
so you can see,
that you're dealing with at whatever local marshmallow correlates to that 0 and 1 being biffed or briffed.
Let's start looking at this a little bit more, and then we'll try to help make some sense of this as we keep going.
The compartmentalization,
some comments, some current concerns, if I can learn how to read.
See, for me, as if you watch them do
that way we can continue to master our craft and
see, this is not mine. This would be Army, Board of Army, or Army,
we'll just keep this conversation
Office of the Army.
Rolling. So we're going to pick up here looking at the intelligence process, and I'll throw
and
this
so
up.
I know he's done enough Sharps games.
It's kind of a OODA loop, if you will, which is an old acronym. But the intel process is to plan and direct, collect and process, produce, and then disseminate, and then that just continues. And on the inside of that circle, you can see where we're going to consistently analyze and then assess, and that in and of itself is the intelligence process. This is what
he did before. You could clip this out, but there's a reason. This publication is a rapid action revision. The proposition affected by this administrative, so on and so forth.
Speaking of operational variables, now
covers why the tradoc documentation, it's a 0 and 1. It's both talking about the universe in its entirety and the way you deal with any subject of it, whether it be ADP 2 has an introduction, purpose, reference, explanation of abbreviations and terms,
military, economic, social,
operation and mission variables,
physical environment,
safety programs and overview standards. But this is just one of the ways. But this also works like trig,
it's just a different acronym, PMESI PT, and that's something that you should know, especially if you start working
tools,
in
parts,
the operations
safety
process,
standards.
Right? Next up, looking at the Army strategic roles.
Having specific mill books or specific routes ran are hard lines in the same way that you would find, well, emergency action plan probably going to be, you should have one because it's the introduction brief. Once I've done the hard line, like we mark this all 111, and there's a box for it, and we'll begin to put stuff into that box.
Intelligence is a product, it's a process, it's a function that enables the Army to conduct operations.
So on a patrol loop like that, you'd work it the same way as a hazard, adaptments, you know, that's that loop at those speeds. And again, in certain systems, you need a very specialized variant of it, because otherwise this math problem will put you, the math problem itself, infinity long with infinity systems. So as soon as you know a 0 and 1, the capstone is put to here, AO. Pin chip configuration, and so on and so forth.
The process provides the basis for common intelligence terminology and procedures. It consists of 6 interrelated categories:
obstacles of horizontal
selection, processing, and exploitation, analysis,
again, you could just read these out and just
evaluation, and
if I just read them out at the speed and think about
happening in a loop.
See, they have Army fundamentals, which is the 7 fundamentals of training, which is that. But if you ever watch them do programming, he's giving you the answers right here. You'll probably have to handwrite them in or type them, depending on how
so there's all types of
any board might matrix to the need. 2 would be the overall starts the dimensional analysis of a training course. Basically somebody who can run this line, come back through it, and do it again of a real base AR-15, right? Because that's the obstacles, that's the Q-25 obstacles, that's the lieutenant officer obstacles, in the same set that those hits work. So,
and again, leave some comments down below on some areas that you need or think we all need some assistance on. So, moving into some standard questions, right? So, what is ADP 2- cover? Of course, it covers intelligence. That is such a typical standard.
Time tracking is fun, said no one ever. That's why we designed Connect Team's time clock to simplify.
Standard easy question. Some board members may not even ask that.
So hopefully we got that drilled into,
you should know, so that you can frame
2 of us
it
coming
in
around.
a part of your answer. For example, First Sergeant, in accordance with ADP 2-0,
all gonna be
the intelligence process enables.
Whatever you, what is lower than you, right? I'll do lower than you. I'll play E2 for it. But
of course, if you read through, it's ADP 2 is going to cover risks and hazards, and hazards, of course, are conditions that
these
may
are
destroy life
real fast. See how fast we did that?
Mission accomplishment, right? If you just
that was one loop.
Hazards, man,
now let's take it back apart and go through. Can you hold this?
Right, so
can you change that speed to a different speed
integration, evaluation,
that gives you a better index
information concerning foreign nationals,
inside of this?
Potentially,
what are we looking at? Photons, right?
Forces. So a big, long answer, right?
Photons
so
and gluons or shadow problems.
Is the collection of information and then processing it.
So let's get to something a little bit more real.
Provide command and control to the commanders.
In the area of the scale,
and win America's wars. Right?
You get into very specific Q-25s, which is terminal position. It's 9.8 meters under that calculus of in that introduction to the loop that the divergence of that system may rip as a cyclotron. A loop, a V at the top, would say,
and those are probably the most
board questions to needing the graph.
Questions that you may ask.
You were trained to here to do the loop here because it early indexes what we know the calculus does by putting somebody out there that indexes that dot matrix.
Feel like you have a role or know or believe that you have a role.
You do that by observation, some wobbles that I called an energy lambda, some field, or sigma, we'll get into later, which is lens. I don't always know, Heisenberg, what the exact momentum or position of that is, and the game is invert to track that. And these housings give it some checkpoints. It'd say, now that I've run all that loop and I feel like that's my base, now I'll come over and I'll begin to, no matter where that is, I'll begin to graph that inverted shadow to danger date U, calculus U, and you flip that over, it's omega. And anti-life equations.
And all of that feedback feeds back up into
so again, like tracking recruits in people through the gas chamber, how you handle a frog dissection, it starts to go into
so I hope you did enjoy
what those file cabinets start to be by running a loop or figuring out from your loop why the organization, convention, $100 prize, million Bitcoin.
Share this out with a battle buddy or friend, and again, leave some comments so that I can continue to master my own craft of bringing the best information.
And then you just have
to
these guys getting out there, really trying to handle this off to somebody on the Mexican border that doesn't speak a word of English. 2x2 is heading off.